We're live. We're hanging out. It's another episode of the Vision Quest podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Join. What's that?
That's what it's called.
I'm pretty sure it's what it's called. I can't remember a lot of stuff now, but why? I don't know, because I'm getting old and that's just how shit goes with my brain. It doesn't retain a lot. But I'm joined by the Wisconsin Grappler, Zach. Thanks for coming in. Like I said, we're going to try and make this a regular thing where it's every Friday, right?
Yeah.
It's the most available day we have until season starts, I'm sure, when things start to ramp up. So we'll have to verify things a little bit once the high school season comes on.
Yeah.
But you don't always have to be here.
Right.
If you're somewhere in a hotel room and I am, we can still do it from a hotel room if we feel like we got the time.
Oh, yeah.
And you're not tired from babysitting kids all day.
Babysitting.
Well, it is, man.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you're at the venue,
yeah,
you're still babysitting, but really afterwards, I know that some of them are probably pretty mature kids for the most part, but you got your handful that are kids you got to wrangle in a little bit.
Yeah, there's a few.
There's a couple. Yeah. That happens. I'm sure I probably had one in my house or two, or probably still do have one in my house. But so we're gonna do this weekly because we're just gonna talk about a couple things that we saw here and there. But I'm gonna talk about first our sponsors, like I brought up. 920 Hat Company. If you guys look at my wall, not all of them are 920 hat, but that one up there, that's 920. The black one below it, that's 920. I mean, I have at least 15 of his hats down here, and then the rest of them are other ones. Awesome products, man. He gets the right hats. It's the Richardson hats. He's got other ones too. He's got the Flex Fit, things like that, but the Richardsons are like top notch. They last a while.
Is that the coaches hats we got?
Yeah.
Those are good. Yeah.
Yep. That fabric. I mean, especially when it comes to like summertime and sweating, it washes well.
Yeah.
The patches last really well too. Right. They don't just fall off. So Trevor Verhagen and 920 Hat Company. Well done, Trevor. Anabolic Army. I've been talking about those guys, talking about them a couple times. I think the new flavor they have out is Spartan Blood. You can find those guys on Amazon. I see the corner of your mouth go up a little bit when I say Spartan Blood.
I was just like, that's good. I didn't hear that.
Spartan Blood. Good stuff though. I've had it myself. It's a pre-workout, but I didn't do it for pre-workout. Obviously, look at me. But I did just a little bit.
Well, you might work out sometime. You got to take it all.
I work out getting out of bed.
There you go.
That's my workout.
Hey, you got to take it before you get out of bed. Then
I burn tons of calories when I roll out of bed. But Anabolic Army has new flavor that like I said, the Spartan Blood. It's pretty good. I only did a little bit just kind of see, the effects of a pre-workout, because when I was younger, we didn't have the shit.
Yeah,
we really did not have this stuff. So go check it out on Amazon. I want to give a shout out to Coach Lang as well. He has the book, the Mat Return. I think Resolite was with him on that one. A little sponsorship with it or whatever. Okay. There's some really good stories within that book, guys. Go check it out. Coach Lang did a great job in getting some good content within that book. Content. I heard someone else making fun of that word, the content word, like that, because now where we are.
Yeah.
But anyways, Coach Lang did a great job in the book. There's a couple stories in there. I'll talk about some of those somewhere down the road here. We'll bring the book up a little bit and then talk about that. But go check that book out, Mat Return. That's also on Amazon. I'm pretty sure just about anything I'm going to mention merchandise-wise is going to be on Amazon. Yeah. If not, I'll tell you what the website is. Tattoos. Well, you can't go to Appleton Tattoo. You can't. Good. I love that segue there. That was good. You can't get your tattoo from Amazon. Sorry. You can get tattoos, like temporary ones, but you can't get Appleton tattoos on Amazon. You have to go to Appleton. And they're right off College Ave downtown. Have you ever been there?
No.
You ever been to a spot? No. It's pretty nice.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice. It's on the upper level.
Okay.
But I got my back tattoo there. Someday I'll show people that when I'm not fat. And I burn some more weight off again.
I could never say that because I'll always be fat.
My life is up and down. Like I got down to 195.
Yeah.
Right back up to 233 again. Doing great. Loving life.
Yeah.
I got a hot tub, relaxing.
Yeah, when you get a hot tub, you got to gain some weight.
Slamming dues.
Yeah.
My hot tub off man do, Grandpa. But yeah, so those are the sponsors. The book is just kind of an add-in, but the sponsors have been great. We've been doing this for a little over a year and a half. They've grown a lot. Trevor's grown a lot. I know Jason stays pretty busy. So check every one of those guys out. That book is selling really well. There's a lot of people got interest. He's doing giveaways. Check that out as well. Coach Lang is on Instagram. I believe he's on Facebook as well, but go check him out. He's also on Twitter. But he's got some giveaways going, so check him out on Instagram and everything. So okay, so we're gonna touch on some stuff here.
Yeah,
there's some changes coming. 2024-2025 season possibilities. These are still talks, and there are still things that these guys have to work out, but I know for sure that one thing has come down. It's a $2.8 billion house versus, what was that called again?
House versus
NCAA,
I believe, right?
Yeah, we've got articles pulled up here, but the one that I read was the one with the Gophers athletic director Mark Coyle. They sat down with their board of regents and had a meeting. There are things that are going to be happening with that $2.8 billion settlement. I just had it pulled up here. It says $2.8 billion, but the settlement paid to current and former athletes. So these are going back to like 2017. Each athlete, and it's not all athletes. Obviously, not every athlete that was out there was probably going to get an NIL deal, you know? Yeah. So I don't know how they balance that. If it were just guys who stepped up and said, hey, you know, I did this and I was this guy, I got all confident, you know, this kind of thing. I don't know what the balance is off of that.
Yeah.
But all of those guys are going to get back pay. We'll call it back pay, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So those guys are going to get back paid. That has to come from however many universities, and not every university pays the same, right? Not every university makes the same.
Right.
So it's all going to be a percentage, right? With that being said, the financial side is going to change exponentially, right? So you're not going to, the NIL thing is not going away. So don't, it's not that this is going to eliminate it. It's definitely going to be changing how the transfer portal is going to work, though, because with the money issues are going to be coming roster changes. I brought it up to several coaches. They keep telling me 35. It's not going to be 35 for wrestling. I mark my words. If it's 30, it's 30, but I'm guessing it's closer to the range of 26, 25 guys.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not just like under a scholarship.
There will be 100% scholarship. I don't understand how that structure is going to work, though, because I know that obviously you got your football teams and basketball teams, those guys that bring all that revenue in. The football teams and those guys will, let's say I think their roster size are anywhere from like 135 or to 120 guys right now.
Yeah.
They're going to be cut down to 100% scholarships, football, right?
Okay.
I don't, in reading through some of these, there's other articles I want to dig into to just see if there's a little bit more of a mix of, you know, this guy could get, you know, this sport could get this much or whatever, but each school's different, right? So you talk about demographics now. So demographics change everything. So with these cuts, with the money that's going to come, you know, they have to pay this 2.8 billion, depending on what each school has to pay. Now you have to choose what you have to take from, because that 2.8 billion or whatever, not each school's paying that, but let's say you have to pay 22 million to that, right? Yeah. Now you have to ditch, and that's over a course of years. We're not even, you know what I'm saying? We're not even talking about, oh, he's got to throw out this one payment of 22 million.
Right.
No, this is going to go on for a minute.
Yeah.
So this back pay thing is going to go on for a minute with the NIL stuff. And guys, maybe they deserve it. So I'm not trying to bag on them for getting it, but this is going to be taking a minute. Right. So the other thing that comes with that now, if you have to take all that money out each year, you look at what sports or what things. So they're talking about in this article with Coyle, he talks about the Olympic sports, Olympic style sports. Well, that's wrestling.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about 35 guys down to 25 guys, that's where I kind of brought up the transfer portal, because, you know, the transfer portal is kind of free for all right now. Whoever is getting thrown the most amount of money. Now, does not mean that these guys can't get thrown money on the backside. I'm pretty sure that's still staying the same. If there's someone who wants to give a guy money, because to a certain extent, these athletes are going to turn into employees.
Yeah.
Certain ones are going to turn into employees because they're going to be tied to the school as far as making money regardless, because the school is going to be paying kids. They essentially become employees of the school. I don't know what level that's going to be and how that's all going to structure. Again, a lot of the stuff is in talks,
right. And
it's just interesting right now because you know that a lot of these schools obviously are so fucking small.
Yeah, I don't.
That's going to be a hit, right? So now I worry about schools like a Bellarmine, that just got out there, you know, and they're doing really good. Little Rock, you know, are they going to be able to sustain?
Right.
So if you start talking about some of these schools that have these issues, so now you're talking about roster caps. Well, because of roster caps, you don't have the money to support these teams. So you had to make that's part of the cut decision. Now you're going to be cutting coaches.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you have a room that small, you don't need 8 coaches anymore, 7 coaches.
Yeah.
You need 3.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there are going to be cuts to coaching staffs. So like I saw before, we are kind of talking about is that some of these coaches are going to go away. They're not going to necessarily be able to get a coaching job. Maybe a school will want another coach and things will shift. And then, some guys will probably just not have coaching jobs. Will that spark more clubs? Just because in your argument was, well, why would they start a club with a dying sport, right?
Yeah.
When the sport's kind of going out. But to me, does that just because the college level is going to go away doesn't mean the world level is gone, right?
Right.
Maybe they're only training freestyle. Maybe they have clubs that are only doing that to teach, to train these kids to be just international level type wrestling,
Yeah.
Because all these guys that are out there now, these young guys that have graduated are some fucking top level athletes that have done that have made some accolades. But with those cuts and the coaching staff, things like that, you got coaches kind of I'm going to call it wandering the planet.
Yeah.
Because they want to coach, maybe it's just like zombie coaches walking around. It's like, where's the coaching job? But what's going to happen with that? What's going to be, could there a positive thing come out of that at least?
Right.
Where the coaching is so saturated, like I said, are they all going to become insurance salesmen and investors? All of them?
I mean, they all can't, right?
Or trainers,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
with the whole kinesiology degree. Yeah. But congratulations, Eric Barnett, on not getting a kinesiology degree. High five. I know other guys that have not gotten kinesiology degrees. I'm just saying it's just the field is insane, and watching some of these majors of these guys in college, and they change.
I got a funny story about that actually. Like my buddy went to school for sports communication. Like he wanted to be like a sports broadcaster.
Yeah.
And he went to IU, and he goes, 5 years. He's just a regular student.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he gets his degree in the mail, and he went 5 years for sports communication. And he gets it's kinesiology, and he's like, "What the hell?" So he gets into like a field that for his degree, which is kinesiology, and so he's working in a hospital now. And I'm just like, I'm like, oh, okay.
It's just like an all-around study of the human body, I guess.
Yeah,
just
sports communication turns into kinesiology. They just gave those out at IU in 2006.
Since you did this, you could probably get that. Here's that.
Yeah, I was just like, that just made me think of that kinesiology stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I thought because I think it was the NCAA final or the NCAAs, and you're watching Iowa and Penn State and Ohio State and all those guys wrestling. It was either 7/8 or all the Penn State guys were all kinesiology. So here's a crazy fact I learned.
So they got the best tutors in Penn State, apparently.
Penn State, one of the biggest rosters ever this past season, right?
Yeah.
Probably one of the best rosters in college history, right? You know how much revenue those guys brought in? That team?
No.
Just take a stab in the dark at how much these guys brought in.
All right. Well, I mean, they sell out everything. It was like 7,800. Is that what it was?
Right? 1.5 million.
That's all they made.
That's all they. When you talk about the grand scheme of some of these schools, right?
They need more dual meets then.
I think Iowa was like below them at like 950,000 or 800. And I was like, how's that possible?
They sell 14,000.
14 to 16 a fucking duel.
Yeah.
Anyways, this is an even funnier one. I think Penn State's got a women's hockey team. You know how much they brought in?
1.6.
18 grand.
Oh. I thought you were gonna say they made more in the wrestling team.
So when you say
way worse.
Whoo! PA hockey hot.
Yeah, it's really hot.
Hockey is hot.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
So it kind of puts into perspective of where some of these programs, they are going to be under the gun if they're not already. What Minnesota said, they cut men's gymnastics.
Yeah, that was in 2020 though.
Yeah, I know that, but still, that was felt, probably with COVID and stuff like that too. But having to cut, to me, the sports that they cut would seem like it was fairly significant.
Tennis and indoor track.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you think track and field is somewhat
indoor?
Yeah, but how much you spending on a track team? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't know how much those shirts and shorts are.
Yeah, but they get 2 seasons out of them. Indoor and
outdoor, but still, it just doesn't. To me, And that's again where I'm confused on a lot of things. Not confused, but just don't understand a lot of things as far as demographics. And I know Minnesota's got a great hockey team. So and so is North Dakota State. So those guys are hot in hockey. Down south is football, and obviously Indiana's basketball and stuff like that. So we know those demographics, but it's going to be interesting to see how the landscape changes a lot more as we go through this year. And not all, I don't know how many of these decisions are going to be concrete by next year, but definitely some of those changes are going to be felt within the coming season. The roster sizes might change.
But so what you're saying is, I'm trying to, you're saying that there's only going to be 25 people total on the team, or that's all that will be under scholarship? Or
no, on the team.
That's all it's allowed on the team. Walk-ons, everything.
Yep.
Oh, wow. So you couldn't even walk on if you wanted to?
I mean, you could try. You could try to take someone's spot.
You have to try out for that spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Football rosters from 120, 135 down to 100.
Yeah, they're going to have to open up in season transferring.
Correct. Something, in whatever that would entail, but something.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just going to try out and
so
that's crazy. I thought you were just saying. I thought you were trying to say they're getting 25 scholarships.
No,
full ride scholarships. I was like, that sounds great.
Man roster.
Okay,
that's it. So that's why the transfer portal is if there's no room on that team and you really want to go there, well, sit in the corner and wish.
Do they get an injury reserve? I
don't that I don't know. Yeah. Those are the details. Not every single thing is worked out, but yeah, it's crazy, dude. How the fuck? I mean, how?
Especially in a sport like football or wrestling, how they get hurt all the time.
Well, and I'm thinking of Liam right now. You're looking at colleges, right? Do you hurry up and fucking commit?
Yeah,
and even if you don't, it doesn't matter. You haven't signed any paperwork,
right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
So, I've been watching weights and weight classes and just seeing who's going where. But a school like Minnesota, they're going to hold on to wrestling,
right? I mean, I would think.
Dude, how much revenue they bring in? I'm not saying they don't have fans, but I've seen that gym that they wrestle in. It ain't huge,
3,000 people.
It's not big, So it's what's gonna happen by the time Liam's in college? How is this gonna look? The other thing too is that with the shrinking roster sizes, shrinking money, they're not going to be traveling like they were. Right. I think that was one of the big things they brought up at that meeting.
Saying everybody's just going at home duels.
Yeah, if you can't bust there in a decent amount of time, you ain't going.
Right.
Period. So that now, what's that going to look like for a championship type series? You come to the end of the season, the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Why is Maryland in the Big Ten? Yeah. Are you going to change that now?
Well,
because of the travel?
In Oregon and USC,
didn't they just hop in?
Yeah.
Big Ten's got 18 teams.
Yeah.
Isn't that the Big 20?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's only the Big 10.
10.
We like that number.
So we got the Power 5, right? Those are the conferences.
Yeah, that's the Big 12, Big 10.
Yeah.
Pac-10, is it still the 10? I don't know.
I guess.
Pac-12.
Pac-Sun.
Yeah.
SEC. That's not a bit. Is that the Power 5?
Yeah, they should be in football for sure.
Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah. But was it in
ACC?
Aren't they trying to get rid of the ACC? Didn't I hear something about that?
Maybe. I mean, they might have got rid of it.
That might happen now.
Yeah,
with all this shit going down.
There's been so much movement for years and conferences too. It's been crazy.
And that was one thing I never thought about was how is this going to change conferences?
Yeah.
And not even just the travel, but just the schedules.
Yeah, hell, you gotta be in the conference of everybody in your state.
Yeah, yeah, right. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, I guess Wisconsin's just gonna wrestle Oshkosh and Eau Claire.
That's it. Good luck, fellas. Yeah. They're gonna have a great season.
Yeah, they ain't going to NCAAs undefeated.
So that's that's kind of it's concerning to me as a parent of a kid who's looking at colleges because what are the right moves?
Yeah.
What do you anticipate? I'm not a gambler, so I don't a lot of times I'm so afraid to lose that I'm all in right away. I'm like, bam, here. Yeah. That's me.
So you're not going to sit there and
contemplate
slow death. You're going to go right away or not at all.
Yeah. I'm either making it or it's slicing my head off. That's it. Because I just don't think I don't know to the extent of again what what this means for every single school. Now, maybe some schools are going to be completely affected by the financial side because maybe they don't have a lot of programs,
right?
And they only have the big ones, the basketball and the football. But it's so weird that they can just go up and down with this stuff. Like we're in a new world with the NIL, and I get that. But this is almost like legalizing marijuana. It was like some of the states just jumped into it, didn't figure out what they had to do, and they're just kind of figuring it out as they go.
Right.
Hey, let's open up the NIL gate, and we'll just kind of figure it out as we go along.
They won't want a lot of money. They only got to pay $50,000 a year to go here now.
That's it. So then you start looking at these schools now that are, with the reciprocity and things like that. Is that going to open up?
Yeah, I have no clue.
What I don't understand why certain schools have reciprocity in the first place, just because they're neighbors.
Yeah.
Is that, hey, we're borders, let's try to keep our kids in the the work pool around our states and keep them in the Midwest kind of thing? Is that how that rolled out? I didn't pay attention to that. But
not really sure.
So I don't know. Like I said, that with that change, I just don't know what the expectations are going to be for kids when they go to sign, or when they're looking to, I don't know if you call it negotiate with coaches and what they could or couldn't get, because now the donors as well, the money isn't necessarily going to be, RTCs are probably going to disappear.
Yeah.
Because donors are now going to donate to the school, because the school can give the money to the school and then say, hey, I want to give it to this.
Yeah.
And then they get their name on a bench, which is cooler.
Yeah.
Right. Not just handing money to an RTC coach and then you see some mats or something like that down the road, or you see the guy that you maybe said you wanted the money to go to Peru, and he's in Peru. Cool. Right. I guess maybe I'll donate and figure out exactly how it works. But at the same time, it's like, it seems like RTCs are going to go away to me anyways, because of the, the after effects. I don't know that clubs would hurt because of this. I think that was the argument, like you were saying, why would you want to continue in a dying sport? But if people are dedicated enough to something, I don't think, maybe, and you're not going to get the entire, mind state of a nation to shift to like, I want to win the Olympics as an athlete, and not everybody's going to go to that track and be like, oh, cool, now we can just do freestyle all the time and start training. I'm not expecting it to happen that way, but I would expect it to open some type of positive door in a different direction, to kind of sustain exactly what we've been trying to do in the United States. And this is the exact fact of where, if we didn't have women's wrestling, what do you think would have happened to men's wrestling?
Oh, they'd have been cut.
It'd be out of the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean,
I just, to me, listening to that and even just saying that doesn't make sense.
Like, back when it was happening, I was like, what are these guys talking about? Like, I was like, how is this saving the whole sport? Like, but now I get it. Like, the people that really push for this look like geniuses now, because I mean, it's basically a holding place in Title IX for sure. If you both have,
right,
because it's same building, you don't have to put any more money into anything.
Yep. Now they got it.
Yeah. So if you got two sports for that, like, it's like, and it doesn't cost a lot to upkeep it. I mean,
but now it's a competition to stay afloat, and not just as a men's girls thing, but just as a sport in general, because one school might keep women's and get rid of men's if they're, bringing in more revenue, because it's fucking happening. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
did you see the thing about like the owner of Nike is like really donating to Oregon lately
all athletics have unlimited NIL or something like that. Like, what?
Yeah. Like,
do we have anybody in Wisconsin like that? Koch brothers.
Yeah.
Hey, Koch brothers. Let's
get really into wrestling.
Yeah, get into NIL for wrestling. Koch brothers. But someone put the word out. But it could be good, it could be bad. It's, to me right now, it's a little stressful, just because you hear the news and like trying to figure out what you got to do. And the guy I was talking to, it was he likes to bring up Iowa quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then I made the argument of Iowa is wrestling, Indiana's basketball, right? You know how that is.
Yeah.
And I know the revenue, and I understand the revenue side of it, but the face of Iowa is wrestling, right?
Right.
Even though their football team brings in more.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the face of like just American sports in general. Football is always going to be up there, right?
Right. You got PA women's hockey, right?
Keeping it. We got to expound on that a little more. But the thing with Iowa and wrestling, though, is like it can't be like the dead last revenue maker.
Right.
So I don't see Iowa wrestling going anywhere unless, like we talked about, the pact.
Yeah.
Where a handshake is saying, hey, brother, if you go down, a team in the Big Ten says, hey, we're out, we can't afford it.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, all these Big Ten teams are like, yep, nope, if they're doing it, we're not doing it. We're out.
The only thing I'm seeing, when you're telling me all this stuff, is I'm thinking, man, this is just going to make kids wrestle with injuries that they don't need to be wrestling with, or playing a sport with injuries because they're going to lose their damn spot. Yep. And then, I mean, what's holding your spot anymore?
Pressure to perform.
Yeah. And then
especially if you're considered like an employee.
Yeah. That's what it's, that's basically what it sounds like, right?
Right. When I read that portion of a fucking employee, what?
Yeah.
Now I have to do something, it's not an option anymore.
Right.
And I mean, technically you should feel that anyways. You're in school, right. You got a scholarship and you're still getting a paycheck. So it should still be the mentality of I should be here to do the best that I can. But at the same point though, too, now it's I have to.
Right.
If I don't, my future is done because my education's going to go away, so it's kind of weird. It's weird. I'm hoping that it kind of brings out a different direction for certain things. I would love to see more of a focus on, because we have so many folk style clubs, right?
Yeah.
I would love to see a shift of just freestyle clubs.
Yeah.
And then if they want to incorporate Greco, great. But I'd like to see where there are different clubs that are specializing only.
Yeah.
I think we're at that point now where we really have to pick that. I think kids, I don't think necessarily that if you're going to college that you need to pick that, but I think if now is the time to give those kids the options, especially with the shit that could be coming down the road. I'm not going to waste my money in trying to make it through a college.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to work, or maybe I'm going to go to community college, but I can go to this club and I can train here and it's only freestyle or it's only Greco.
Yeah.
I can get better. I'll enter myself in my own tournaments because I'm, I still have a job, and maybe they can make a balance, but training, that's where the problem comes in. If you can't train constantly, you ain't winning world championships and shit,
no.
I didn't even put that in perspective, but that's just it's kind of weird. I felt it important to talk about just because it's a huge thing. It's changing money. It's going to change how athletes try to, transfer. It's going to change exactly how, maybe how schools work in general, administrations work.
I'm hoping that it brings tuition down.
That would be great,
because then they would be having to pay these kids less.
Right. That'd be great.
That'd be great for them to stop being money grubbing whores, for lack of a better word.
Guys, if you didn't know, I have this article up on in my link is in my bio in either on, I think it's on Spotify, it's on Instagram, Facebook, but I have this article up. It's I can't remember what the date was on it, but it's fairly
July 10th.
Is it July 10th?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. That's recent. So another one that I read from May was the swim. It was a swim team that was talking about discussions about cuts. So it's not just wrestling, folks. This is happening NCAA wide, but it's going to affect wrestling a lot. It's going to be one of those things where, if you have a freshman right now and going down the road, pay attention to what's going on at each school. I think it's important to know that whatever school you're looking at, you should be wrestling wise, you should be looking at the weight class your kid's at. If they're log jammed at that weight class, why are you even bothering looking at it?
Right.
Because you don't know how long those kids are going to be. Obviously you can tell freshman, junior, senior, but how long you're going to be there. They could leave next year. You don't know if they're planning on staying the whole time. If they're log jammed, don't bother.
Yeah.
Especially now, because they're going to start laying off students.
Yeah.
Like student athletes because, hey, roster size, man, we got to pick, and he won 12, you won, 3.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We got to make some decisions,
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So hopefully some of the guys that we've seen succeed, keep their spots.
Yeah.
Depending on what happens with the fallout of all of it. But I don't think it's necessarily all negative. And here's my perspective too on roster sizes. I'm not a huge fan of gigantic rosters.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't also know what it takes to coach an NCAA wrestling team, right? Okay. When it comes to injuries, or, this guy travels better and wrestles better when we travel. I'd rather have him at the 141 spot instead of this guy when we're going here, that kind of thing. I don't know how that affects rosters, but I've just never been a fan of huge, gigantic soccer rosters.
Yeah.
Some of those get out of control.
Oh,
you go to, dude, So we would go to these national tournaments and then rosters would change, but they would add players like, well, they're not playing, they're just here. But you can't have them on the roster, dude. So now we're standing around waiting, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Because they had to go, take them off, make sure that they're off. They had to go turn the roster back in. It was just weird. But I'm not a huge fan. Like when you think about 135 guys on a team, on a football team,
yeah.
Why do you need that many fucking guys, man?
Yeah, I was just reading this one on ESPN about it kind of too.
Mm-hmm.
And they were saying like, it looks like college football is kind of going to less pads now. They're going NFL model, like for their football.
Really?
Yeah, so they're going like 13 days where they actually go full pads.
Oh,
to make injuries less happen. But I see that as being game day. Like there's going to be so many injuries during game days. Like I guess there's not during NFL, but it's just crazy to me.
Well, to me, what's the difference between wearing pads? Why aren't you just limiting like how hard you're going? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like just especially like the day before game day kind of thing. When you want to just run through plays and
I would think it's a walkthrough a day before. But
yeah. It's not to say these guys aren't physical. I mean, they're still going to be physical even when they're not going hard. But you can roll an ankle or something like that. Guy can fall on your leg and roll it over or whatever. But yeah, it's going to be weird. You know, it's just going to keep changing and evolving until this giant blob of what we call the NCAA kind of
gets their shit together,
gets back to the round blue ball that it should be.
Yeah.
Right now it's like just a wobbly thing floating in the air. Like, we're just grabbing shit as we go along and see what happens.
Hoping this works.
See if it sticks to the wall.
Yeah.
But so I mean, hey, it's gonna be. I think it'll be interesting. I think it'll be fun to see what comes out of it. Not fun, interesting to see what comes out of it. Because right now it sounds bad.
I don't see much good coming from this for wrestling.
Not good. No, I don't see a positive direction really for wrestling.
Yeah.
I think it's just interesting to see exactly what it's going to make this landscape look like.
Yeah. See, I mean, like when I was starting to go to college, the Title IX thing was a big thing, so that was kind of a worry, like for other reasons. Obviously you didn't know if they didn't know if they were going to have a team sometimes, like you're getting recruited and they're, oh, they're doing Title IX cuts and we're trying to hold on. Hopefully
administration change. You can see Title IX cuts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, let's see what happens.
Yeah. So I was just like, oh, that's great. Thank you. That makes me really want to stick with you guys. It was just like really crazy, like to hear. Because the coaches didn't know, it wasn't like they wouldn't know. The same things with this stuff. Like it's like, the coaches don't seem to know much.
They don't.
Yeah.
And do they not, or do they not want to divulge?
Right. They're not offering much. Let's just say that.
Because I don't think they want to scare people.
Right. Because they don't know if they're scaring people for a reason.
Right.
You don't want to scare them.
Well, and that's the thing, because there is a lot that isn't like concrete right now. If they throw something out there, then all of a sudden the parents of the kid come to school, it's way different than what the fucking coach said. I get where they're coming from.
Yeah.
I totally understand. But it's like when someone approaches you with the right information, they already know it. Just say like, oh yeah, there's something like that coming down. But then they tell me no, roster sizes aren't going to drop. They're going to stay probably around 30, 35. They're fucking not.
Yeah.
They just aren't. I mean, if you think about football dropping that many guys, do you think they're going to sit around and watch everybody else not drop players off their rosters? Yeah. Like they're not going to look at wrestling and be like, you guys can just lose one. You're fine.
Yeah.
No biggie.
You guys don't have many.
No, they're probably going to look at it and be like, everybody thinks you're tougher than us. Get the hell out of here and take your 35 guys with you,
Yeah.
I will see. I think, like you said, I don't think there's going to be a lot good for wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that something spun off on the outer edge of wrestling that happens that spurs something is what I'm kind of hoping for. Because wrestling is getting pretty creative.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty creative now. And I think someone can find an angle. And I think Ben Askren had a really good idea, like I said, with this whole let's create our own thing. I think he called it a league. I don't want to call it a league because we fucking tried leagues. We got to try something where we collaborate with overseas people. Like we kind of have, like, look at Frank, not Jasper. Shout out to Shoot, by the way. Frank Popolizio.
Oh yeah.
Journeyman. bringing all those foreign teams over, the women's teams, the men's teams over for that World Freestyle tournament that he does.
Yeah.
If we could get someone like him on board, I think we can make something happen internationally.
Right.
You know, and I think Ben's idea, and I don't know if he mentioned, I just watched a short portion, but you know, maybe we turn it into our own Olympics.
Yeah. I
Where
didn't watch the whole thing either, but
where we start
see where he's going with
right,
it. Yeah.
right. I kind of got the gist. Yeah. And maybe we can make our own thing,
Right.
you know, where we could have our guys get paid. You know, you have sponsors just like everything like that, but it's worldwide, you know, but that's going to take some work. You know?
Oh, yeah.
I don't have fucking time or energy for that shit.
Yeah.
I could barely remember to plug my computer and make sure the shit doesn't die. It's plugged in.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's plugged in.
No beeping in the ears.
No wondering if it's going to shut down. But yeah, I just what I think the biggest thing to me too is that the kids, get your head right. You know, parents, pay attention to what's going on. Because if you think it's all just, you don't think because it's 100% scholarships for football, that's what's rolling down to every other sport.
Right.
And that even though those guys are going to get scholarships, that they're going to get 100% scholarships all the time. Those could drop. If you're a 50% kid this year, next year you could be a 20% kid. Now you're scrambling because you're only paying for books.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, like to when they go to reevaluate after all that stuff, all the dust settles. You know.
Yeah.
Like I mean, when you sign those national letter of intents, you're under the impression that this is the way it's going to go. You know, like I wouldn't think that there should be a reevaluation, but it seems like it's going to have to happen, right?
So with that being said, is that, yeah. So if these roster sizes change, do they tell these teams that are over roster size, you can't recruit anymore?
Right.
You have to wait until you get down to that number where those kids graduate. What do you do then?
Yeah. Like Oklahoma State, just, you know, they're all.
I mean, you can maybe we start trading
transfers and everything.
You trade.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't want this guy here. We want trade. He might work with you guys better.
We'll give you 3 for 1. You know, you're like fantasy football.
Well, I mean, because you think about, again, they're employees. Some of these guys are going to be high-end, you know, athletes that are employees of the school.
Yeah, it's going to be very strange. Like it. I have no clue how this is going to happen. But.
I don't know. I mean, so now you think about high school sports, the trickle-down effect of that.
Yeah.
We're going to see a lot of high school sports disappear because if they're not going to have them in college, why are kids going to fucking play it?
Right, yeah. I mean, people still play, like, or not play, but they still fence and stuff, and there's not high school sports for it. But I mean, I know there's very limited fencers, but I'm just saying, like,
right, fencing.
Yeah, well, that's an Olympic sport.
It is an Olympic sport. It is. It really is. I don't know too many high schools that have fencing.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
maybe somewhere in Santa Clara or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's real hot in New York. That's a New York thing.
New York thing. I'll bet you the New York Athletic Club has fencing in it.
Oh yeah,
I bet you they do. That's like a 20 level place or something. It's probably like a sport on each level.
I don't know why I went with fencing. All right, but I'm just saying, like,
it's fine. It's original.
Yeah,
you're thinking outside the box. I get it.
Yeah.
It's still a combat sport, by the way. Well done.
Yeah, there you go.
Well done.
Yeah, I tied it in there.
Not hand combat, guys. It's weapons, right? It's a like poke, just a pokey weapon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's definitely gonna. I think I'm a little more worried about the high school sports than I am the college sports.
Yeah,
that kind of sucks, you know. Because I'll tell you this much right now. I could see a school like Manawa or Wittenberg dropping sports.
Yeah.
Except for football, you know, like a football team or something like that. That they know they can get a booster club behind or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And just being bone dry of sports, and that's all they have.
That'd be so weird.
That would be weird. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. It's just that those demographics of those schools are just so small, you know. Man was just going to do rodeos, and that's it.
Yeah, but they still have to be in Title IX compliance, right? So,
well, they have men and women rodeos.
Yeah, but, no, but I'm saying football, like,
yeah,
there's not really women's football.
Someone right now is probably saying he clearly doesn't understand Title IX. I don't, so it's fine. But yeah, so I figured we bring that to everyone's attention. It's one of the articles. I think one of the bigger things that's going to be happening. You know, so it's scary and weird times. But like I said, still interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's not the end of the world, but it's definitely going to suck for viewers and fans. You know, like our ticket's going to become more expensive. What's that going to change the landscape for going to see, you know, sports? Are we going to be able to stream it for the same amount? Is that going to change the price of like watching the Big Ten and everything like that? Because all of this is money that, not all of it, but all of this is because of that 2.8 billion.
Right.
All of this is because of that. So thanks, NIL. Much appreciated. But
it was really cool when it first came out. I thought it was a really good idea.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It's fun while it lasted.
For about a month. And then you're like, oh shit, where's this all going to come from?
It's fun while it lasted. Now it's all going to shit the bed.
Yeah. I don't understand why they have a cap on how many kids. Like if I want to go to your school and pay you money to go to your school and get beat up for free, basically, or
no scholarship,
nothing to you. Why does that have anything to do with?
And maybe that's what happens.
Yeah,
maybe that's what happens. So that way, then when they are a walk-on, they aren't necessarily a scholarship guy.
Yeah,
but now that's I think that's where that NIL not going to RTC stuff or whatever. I think that's where NIL can lean more towards paying the school.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So that way, that money can go to those guys while not having to keep them tied. So it's like being an employee. You can be fired.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can be a walk-on. You can try and beat that guy, but you're not guaranteed a spot on that team all the time.
Right.
So I don't know if a coach has the freedom, because there's something there's an article that I read where the Power 5 are just going to be able to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They can make the decisions they want of who gets what with the money, whatever it is. As long as they pay that 2.8 billion, they get that bill paid. They're going to let them figure out how they want to do it. And that's the scary part,
right? Because
that's where the decisions about sports are going to be made, whether they're going to keep certain ones or not. So
yeah, and I see a Power 4 conference on here.
Oh, hey,
but it's ACC, Big 10, Big 12, and SEC. So 2 of them don't have wrestling. So
yeah, yeah, right.
ACC and SEC.
Yeah, ACC's got wrestling.
Oh yeah, I guess
Virginia.
Not all of them do Virginia it though, right? Tech. Like Clemson.
Well, not every big. Well, yeah,
every Big Ten.
That's a biggest conference in the country.
Right. Yeah.
So
I know it's not this. It's not the
right.
The average one.
I smell what you're stepping in.
Yeah. I guess ACC has wrestling. I'm sorry, ACC. you have wrestling, but not everybody in the sport.
I was sitting back and thinking, I was like, "Fuck!" I remember going out to North Carolina and seeing the side of that building. Pretty sure it said ACC on the side of there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But like, there's Clemson and like.
There's certain schools over there that don't have it. Yeah, I'm
Boston College and
no. I think the biggest thing I think parents to take away from it, like I said, just do your homework, pay attention to the schools and what they're doing, read up on the decisions they're making about sports. Just because you like the school doesn't mean they like the sport you want to be there for. You got to kind of really pay attention to coaches and things that they tell you, and not a lot of these coaches are great guys, don't get me wrong, but they want your kid on their team, right? Just like a guy wants to sell you something, they're going to tell you whatever it takes to get your kid on the team because they do want them on the team.
Oh yeah,
these are slippery times coming up. Like you don't want to be stuck in the back end where your kid's not happy, or even you the athlete, you're not happy. You want to make sure that you're landing in a spot that's going to be, make you happy for 4 years at least, because it's going to be tough to try and move around after that. So, but I think what we'll do is probably cut it out. I mean, I think we beat a dead horse here, but pay attention to that stuff, you guys. NCAA changes are coming up. If you don't know about them, we told you about them. There's an article that I put up about the athletic director from Minnesota. Some of the stuff that they've had to already do just from 2020, I'm sure that had to do with COVID, but there could be more, cuts coming. So, with that being said, we are going to lead you guys out with some music here. And then hopefully we see you next Friday after not after Fargo, that trail end of Fargo,
right?
When the place clears out. Sorry, Greco.
Yeah.
I mean, to kick in the balls like that.
Yeah. You guys got it easy. We had to sit through Greco. Well, I mean, I was a Greco athlete, but I was like, you had to sit through Greco to get to freestyle.
Yeah, sit through all your head throws.
Yeah.
Fucking weirdo.
Oh yeah.
You're a big dude though. Like that's your gig. Like that's what you guys do. You get hand fight.
Yeah.
If you can get
a lot of slips in there.
Of course. Yeah. Let's just touch on that real quick. I think it's funny watching guys and just the way that they utilize slips. just over the years, watching kids try to pick up on it, like as soon as they hit it, they go to the mat and they're looking up at the ref. Slip.
Yeah, I'm like,
I love that. But yeah, that's 45 minutes, man. See,
yeah, good.
One topic. Now just imagine what happens when you can find 2 or 3. Then we wind up talking about other stuff.
Yeah.
See, it's
There we
great.
go.
So again, folks, we're gonna try and get this done every Friday. Again, Zach doesn't have to be here.
Yeah.
So if there's times where he might be at home, we'll be doing split screen. But we appreciate everybody joining us. We were on Instagram and YouTube this time just because it's kind of short, and after an hour, I think Instagram kicks you out of it.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I've said that quite a few times. I got to really pay attention to shit, the repetitiveness.
No, it's fine.
With that being said,
Yeah. Now, for real, we're done.
We're out of here.